Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are diving into something I think a lot of us have experienced. Something that can be, well, super painful and confusing. We're talking about the relationship vanishing act.
You know the story, right? You're connecting with someone. Everything feels like it's clicking, you're starting to open up, and then, poof, they just pull away. Or worse, they ghost completely. So what is actually going on in someone's head when they do that? That's the mystery we're going to try to solve today.
All right, to really get to the bottom of this, we need to look at a few key psychological pieces of the puzzle. And the very first piece, our starting point, is a concept called anxious attachment. Let's call it the anxious heart.
So what does this actually mean in plain English? Well, if you have an anxious attachment style, you really crave intimacy and closeness. But, and this is a huge but, hiding just underneath that desire is this powerful, nagging fear that the people you get close to are eventually going to leave you. It's this constant engine of get closer that's secretly fueled by a fear of them pulling away.
Honestly, if you could boil down the core emotional feeling of this attachment style into just one sentence, this would be it. Please don't leave me. And this isn't just, a slight preference. It's a deep-seated anxiety that pretty much colors every single interaction they have in a close relationship.
And this is where it gets kind of weird, right? This is the central paradox. How can this intense, powerful need to pull someone closer actually end up being the very thing that pushes them away? It seems totally backward. But trust me, this contradiction is the absolute key to understanding the whole vanishing act. So let's hang on to that idea.
Okay, so if that fear of being abandoned is piece number one, where does it even come from? Well, that brings us to the second piece of our puzzle. And this isn't a personality flaw or anything like that. It's a formative experience from the past. I call it being the invisible child.
So this is all about what it was like growing up. It's about feeling like the real you. Your genuine thoughts, your big, messy emotions, your weird hobbies wasn't really seen or appreciated. Maybe it was just ignored, or maybe you even learned it was too much for people. You basically learned that to be loved and accepted, you had to hide certain parts of yourself away.
And the feeling this creates is just incredibly isolating. It's this quiet internal monologue that says, sure, people might like the person I pretend to be, but no one sees the real me. It's like you're wearing a mask, and behind that mask is someone who feels completely and utterly alone, even if they're in a room full of people.
Now, here's the crucial part. That childhood experience, it doesn't just stay in the past. Nope, it hardens over time, like cement, and it forms a core belief, an internal truth that feels as real as the ground beneath your feet. And that belief is this: my real self is fundamentally unlovable. If people saw who I really am, they wouldn't want me.
Okay, and this is it. This is the moment where everything we've just talked about comes crashing together. It's where the anxious heart smashes right into the invisible child's core belief. And that collision, it creates this intense, overwhelming fear of being truly seen.
I mean, look at this. It captures that internal war perfectly. On one side, you have the anxious attachment part screaming, "Get closer, I need you, don't go anywhere." But at the exact same time, the invisible child part is whispering, whoa, not too close. If they see the real you, it's over. You're not good enough. It's a completely unbearable internal tug of war.
And the end result of that brutal internal fight is one very specific and absolutely terrifying conclusion. It's a conclusion that feels like a law of physics. Exposure equals rejection. If this person I'm starting to care so much about sees the real, flawed, too much me, they will reject me. Notice I said will, not might. To them, it feels like an absolute certainty.
And that powerful, certain fear, it leads directly to the action itself. This is the final piece of our puzzle, the thing I call the preemptive retreat, or seeing the ghost in the mirror.
So let's just walk through the logic of what happens in their mind, step by step. First, intimacy starts to grow. Things are getting closer, more real. That's the trigger. That immediately sets off the fear of exposure alarm bell. The second that alarm rings, they start bracing for the rejection they believe is 100% coming. So, to avoid that massive pain they see on the horizon, they retreat first. They pull away now.
So you see, from the outside looking in, it looks and feels like a cold, confusing, and even cruel act of rejection. But from the inside, it feels like a desperate act of self-protection. They are basically choosing a smaller, controlled pain right now, the pain of leaving, to avoid what they believe will be a catastrophic, soul-crushing pain later, the pain of being seen and then rejected.
And this, right here, this is the absolute heart of this whole explainer. When someone does this vanishing act, they are not really running away from you. They are running away from the reflection they see in the mirror. They are fleeing the unlovable ghost they believe themselves to be, the one they are terrified you are just about to discover.
So let's tie this all together really quickly. What looks and feels like a mean-spirited disappearing act is so often actually a defense mechanism. It's triggered by that deep, deep fear of being truly seen, which is born from that collision of anxious attachment and those invisible child feelings. And in the end, pulling away is a preemptive strike, a retreat to avoid the rejection they feel is absolutely coming their way.
Now, it is so important that I say this. Understanding the why behind this behavior does not excuse it. It doesn't make the very real pain it causes go away, of course not. But it can help us build a bridge. It can shift our perspective from a place of just pure confusion and anger to a place that maybe has a little room for empathy and a deeper understanding of what's going on.
And that's really the question I want to leave you with today. The next time this happens to you, or maybe even if you reflect on a time you've done this to someone else, just ask yourself this question. Are they really vanishing on you, or are they just desperately trying to outrun the ghost in their own mirror? Thanks for digging into this with me.